Welcome back, my dear friends. Today's topic, you can see in the title, we're going to talk about display, a full fake display of masculinity that has been showed, broadcasted worldwide of the leader, supposedly a leader of Ukraine, Zelensky. A lot of people reached out to me, ask my opinion on things, but also people on the internet, everybody asking questions about this. I want to start with saying a lot of people ask about why Zelensky is still in this sweatshirt outfit, why he's not shown respect to Donald Trump by wearing a formal suit. And there could be things that you may or may not understand. Zelensky is trying to show masculinity, that he is in an outfit that if he were on the front line, that would be a perfect one. So he, from the beginning of the war, he has been showing that I'm on the front line. I'm not in the suit. I'm fighting. So he's like in his fighting mode, as if he's on the front line. Also, he's sitting comfortably. He was sitting comfortably at the Oval Office. He was not on the front line. And yeah, he just, that's number one, that he is trying to show everybody that he is not celebrating. He's grieving the loss of people that he is fighting. He cannot be, you cannot fight wearing a suit. And I have to admit, in the beginning of the war, that made sense. It was, a lot of us, including myself, we bought into his masculine ways, that he was right there, he didn't leave the country, he was there with the guys, right? That was a good selling point in the beginning, but not now. Now everybody knows that this is simply not the case, that he's simply taking more and more time where lives could be saved, where cities could be saved, but he's taking time to make himself a good deal, but that costs lives, thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives. The second aspect, you may or may not know, in 90s, so his use was in 90s, where we had mafia, and this is what mafia were, and this is what mafia, his style of communication with Donald Trump was a 90s mafia style. When you disrespect, you overtalk, you try to threaten and intimidate. The good question is, how do you threaten and intimidate a person who is about 100 times more powerful than you? That's something I think he forgot to think of before he chosen the strategy of being obnoxious in a conversation, of trying to prove his point and talk on top of somebody who gave him the honor to be there. That is one thing. Despite of what do you believe, what political views you have, what party you support, that is one thing. The most important thing in all of it is that you have to have a realistic strategy and understand the power dynamics. Zelensky definitely never read The Art of the Deal or 48 Laws of Power. You do not overtalk your boss. You do not overtalk a person who is more powerful. You also you don't outshine your master. You just don't. By outshine in this case, Zelensky, a lot of things that Zelensky said were actually true. It's the way he said it. And Donald Trump was not supposed to know. He is not supposed to know all the ethnic battles we have, all our history in detail. He's not supposed to know. Zelensky doesn't know in detail the conflict between South and North in the United States. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know U.S. history. He doesn't know French history. He doesn't know German history into a detail, the very detail. And therefore, I think that the strategy, it was a losing strategy from the beginning. Once again, you never threaten a person who has leverage on you, has so much more power than you. and especially the person that built that power. Donald Trump literally took a bullet to be where he is. You may like him, you may hate him. You cannot deny that he was a target. He was gone. In his enemy's book, he was gone. He was not supposed to make it from that rally. And the bullet going through his ear was obviously a bullet that was supposed to go through his head. He was marked dead already, but he survived that. Just by the grace of God, he survived that. And you do not come and threaten once again the person that gave you the honor, that had support, whose country had supported you the entire time, who makes bold statements that he wants the thing to end. If you ask every single soldier on the front line what they would like the most, what they would dream the most, is that would be to come back home, to see their family, and for the war to end. It's hard to negotiate diplomacy when there is blood everywhere. How do you negotiate? When you see two people in this physical regular world, you see two people ruthlessly fighting. Are you going to be making concepts, or you're going to try to do everything to first of all separate these two people, to do the ceasefire, so to speak, so everybody could cool off, cool down, have a break from the attacks, have a break from the bullets, and just chill out and just have a moment and realize that, okay, it's an unfair situation. It's a horrible situation for the country of Ukraine. For those of you who don't know, I left Ukraine in 2008, but I was born in Ukraine. It's my motherland. It will never change. I appreciate and respect the law in the countries that I live in, which is United States right now. There are many great things about it, but it's like where you're born is in your DNA. You can never, unless you had some really awful and horrible experiences, like you can never stop appreciating or loving your mother. So when you see somebody trying to sell it, trying to only mind their interest, it is the most painful thing in the world. When you see your mother torn apart. Yes, your mother, your actual mother may or may not be perfect, but she gave you life. It's the land that births you. And of course, you have family and friends, and you hate to see them worried for their life. I receive so many phone calls from my friends. A lot of them have sons, and some of their sons are growing up, and they're scared for them because in this narrative, they telling that, oh, the only way for Ukraine to survive is to keep fighting. And this is why I'm going to call this Zelensky Faux masculinity. It's because he would rather sacrifice the lives of men, of children, all the beautiful cities, all the works that, when you think about how much it takes to build a building, how much it takes to build a city with incredible infrastructure, how much it takes to raise a son. Only one child, one son, it takes 18 years to raise an adult. And he's ready to throw everyone's dreams, everyone's family, everyone's future in a trash, in a fire. He think that he has the luxury to sit in the Oval Office. Oh, that's not good enough. Oh no, and threaten and make his poor arguments when he knows that the United States got him by the balls. That he does not have. By the way, unlike the popular opinion or narrative that is forced in Ukraine right now, has been forced probably before yesterday, that, oh, he's a hero. He didn't let Trump had to have his way. He stood strong. I have never heard the most delusional outlook on the situation. How is he set strong when the cost of every minute, every second of him sitting there caused lives and injuries and devastation to his land. How is that strong? When you have no leverage and you didn't even bother to have somebody with you to learn the etiquette, to understand what diplomacy is? How is that brave? How is that strong? That you didn't bother to learn, even if you don't agree for something, even if you want to take your time before you sign something very important, you don't come at the meeting with so much disrespect, with not acknowledging how much was done for you. It's a very unfortunate situation. And in the United States, we had another weak masculine is not even standing near the previous president that was here, that enticed the conflict, that dragged things deeper, that did not guarantee the security that he was supposed to guarantee. I absolutely agree that many things are extremely unfair, but there is a point where you have to cut your losses and negotiate for your people. Masculinity, the true leadership, is when you put your pride, your personal self-interest, your personal ambition somewhere far, somewhere behind you, and you put the interest of your people, every single life, every single man, every single family, every single child, you put them before you and the billions that you're hoping to get. You realize that you will be the president of nothing. You will be the president of desert with just death, and everything will remind you of death. Like seriously, if this would continue for another 5 years, for another 10 years, motivated by, oh, you can't make deals with Russia, or you can't do this, or you can't, well, you're not even trying to. Most people don't understand. They don't have enough of most people don't have enough of emotional intelligence and understanding the strategy, that this entire time Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he's trying to tame the aggressors. He's trying to tame the tyrant that is in power in Russia. He's not oblivious. He knows exactly who he is, but he's not trying to make him angrier. What he's trying to do is to tame him, because he also understands that everybody has an expiration time and he is not there forever. But what choice does the world really have? To pay, to entice the conflict, to encourage the conflict to go for so much longer and lose so much more lives, so much more people. So, like, every war ends in negotiations. Every single war. The only difference is the time lost, life lost, cities being destroyed. Every single war, people have to sit down at the round table. And when I was watching this, I was doing my thing. I was trying to prepare a meal when I was watching this, taking care of what I need to take care of. And I just couldn't. I had to stop doing what I'm doing, because I could not uh, make a meal in that energy that I felt. I literally felt that I was back in Ukraine in 1990s, where the mafia was calling the shots. And I just could not believe that nobody had advised, uh, consulted Zelensky and given him a heads up of even simple etiquette. There is this thing called etiquette. Agree, disagree, be your worst enemy, but there is etiquette that you absolutely have to follow. You embarrass your entire country when you don't do that. And what a incredibly losing strategy to try and to threaten, insult somebody who can change the course, the future of your entire country, without whose help you have no leverage, no backup. What is the point of that, where you now have to tuck your tail and come back? I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she was very upset about this. And she told me how many people in Ukraine are buying into agendas that, yeah, you know, Zelensky is a hero now, where he's sacrificing hundreds and thousands of lives of people continuously. And I told her, you know, nobody gonna take my good mood today. You know why? Because he will either be replaced or he will have to get on a program and be glad and honored that someone as powerful as Donald Trump is still trying to uh, give him a chance. It is so devastating. It is so frustrating. But I love talking about true masculinity and true femininity and power dynamics and emotional intelligence on this channel, because it's impossible to navigate life without it. It's impossible to understand things. Zelensky made a major mistake with showing up without a high level interpreter. I don't know. His English is not fluent, and it's my third language as well. And you want to make sure that you are absolutely fluent, and you understand also the mentality, not only how to translate words. He should have had the highest level of interpreter with him that could possibly help him a little bit to not look so desperate and so unaware, and fully understand the questions. It's absolutely devastating that he came unprepared, having a horrible losing strategy, and coming there without an interpreter that could save his ass if he would. Well, probably he was way too aggressive, but a smart interpreter would at least try to make it look a little bit better. Although it's hard to make something look better when you overtalk the person you came to ask for help, the person that has earned their way to power, that is again 100,000 times more powerful than you. You try to overtalk and threaten them. I do believe still that translator would have been helpful, because um, the knowledge, the English level of Zelensky has a big room to be improved, and in a big room for improvement. And in this session, in this circumstance, you absolutely have to have somebody highly professional, because every word has a meaning. Everything can have a your tone of voice, the way you interpret things to yourself, and the way you express yourself can cost peace. It's a question of life and death. So you want to be as exact, as precise, as professional. Therefore, you come with interpreters. Therefore, you drop your sweatsuit for a real suit with a tie. Everybody knows Ukraine is in the war. Everybody knows that people are grieving. Everybody knows that. But at this point, you do not look like a masculine man on the front line. You look like a fake persona that trying to keep their image at any cost, wearing a sweatsuit, trying to show as if you were on the front line, but you're not on the front line. You're at the White House, given a great honor. In the beginning of the war, that could have made a little bit more sense. But 11 years after total, and 3 years after for this particular conflict, you are showing disrespect. You who are listening to me, you may or may not understand this. This is not that this is his outfit. He's trying to show a fake persona that I am with my people, I'm in the war, I'm in the front lines, when he's actually sitting in total comfort at the White House. He's not on the front line. It's just a way to manipulate things and show that he is above all the etiquette, which was understandable once again in the beginning. And for the people who believe in him, for the people who send their sons to war, they want to believe that he's trying to symbolize the bravery of Ukraine. But the only thing he's trying to symbolize is his self-interest, for the things to keep going, for the peace talks not taking place, so he can have more offshore accounts, so he can sell more equipment to the enemy with 20 cents on a dollar, so he can get more and more things while his country is getting to be destroyed. Me personally, um, in the beginning of the war, it was not important about his clothes, and even today, the clothes is not the most important thing, but it also shows that he doesn't get a hint that you don't always play by your rules. You come to another environment, you have to honor their etiquette. You have to honor it. You don't overtalk the boss. You don't. You don't speak simultaneously with a person that is older than you, smarter than you, more powerful than you. You make yourself look like a fool. And now you, once again, he's probably now tucking his tail because he has to sign that, or he knows he's gone. You don't have leverage. You don't have anything to back you up. You don't have the wheel of power. You don't have that, and you show disrespect. This is a major, I think they're gonna study this in a diplomacy books as a major diplomatic fail. And I have somewhat of the right to judge, because diplomacy was one of my favorite subjects in college. I had a dream to work in a embassy, but we had a major governmental crisis, and that's why I decided to go another route. But I have huge passion for it. Uh, of course, in order to be a great diplomat, you have to practice, you have to learn from the greatest. Somebody mentioned Churchill. Yes, you can learn from Churchill, you can learn from Disraeli, you can learn from John Kennedy. Some of the moments when they kept cool, when they prevent the war, when they prevent the nuclear war, like in 1962 with Caribbean crisis with John Kennedy, where we have another leader of Soviet Union, Khrushchev, or Khrushchev, like Americans say, but we say Khrushchev, when he was, beating his shoe and saying that he gonna show America, who is the big daddy, if to translate, but John Kennedy kept his cool. He could have went off and make a big mess out of everything. He was a diplomat. He kept his cool, and he has credit for the nuclear war not taking place in 1962. But when you are taking your time to fly across the ocean, when you are living peaceful life, also meaning you do what you want, you spend millions and gazillions for you and your little crew, you buy your wife's mansions for the American taxpayers money, you're wearing a facade military ready suit instead of actual suit. When you're doing all this, you have to understand that there are people who can see through it. And Donald Trump is one of the people who can see through the bullshit. And I could not be embarrassed. I cannot be more embarrassed than I was. My blood was boiling, boiling, boiling. Once again, there were done, there were certain things that were said from Zelensky that were true. It's the way he said it. It's the way that he allowed himself to overtalk probably the most powerful person in the world, who wants to be on his side, who wants to negotiate, who cannot be manipulated. Don't try to manipulate a person that is more powerful than you. Don't try to disrespect the person that is more powerful than you. Zelensky really made a mistake by not reading The Art of the Deal and 48 Laws of Power and all the other great sources of knowledge, not to mention having an advisor, having a strategy. What kind of, it's like he reminded me of a teenager that comes to the parent and demands, devalues everything the parent had ever done, demands his interests, his conditions, yet has no power because everything is going to be in dad's hands. And you disrespect your father, you're gonna see. You gonna be the ones that would have to tuck your tail and come back and apologize. And you know, I saw on headlines, you know, that Zelensky is regretful. Of course he's regretful. He missed the opportunity of a lifetime and showed his full incompetence. And once again, guys, you should always look. I know a lot of people say, oh, he's masculine, you know, he was there with the guys. Well, you know, he was there with the guys when camera was there, number one. Number two, if he was masculine, he would be protective. He would not let his people being hurt, being used, being thrown in a meat grinder, for all the families to fall apart, for all the cities to be demolished, for making laws where they're going to be teaching women and teenagers how to use military equipment. Yes, they already, my friend told me that they already encouraging for schools, for children in school learn how to put drones together. That the boys 13, 14 years old need to go to the database for future military training. You know, he would not, if he was masculine, he would put his pride, his ego somewhere far away and look at the interest of his country, because the first sign of masculinity is protection. That's the job, the only job you have to do as a man is providing and protection. In his case, it's protection of his people, but he put his interest and his little group interest over the while he was sitting there and trying to make someone out of himself. People were bleeding and dying on the fields at that very moment. You know, if we could have two together, if we could watch, you know, him, and in a other half a screen we would see the fields, the wounded, the people, the fathers that will never see their little sons and daughters, the husbands that will never see their wives again, you know, those who are gone without a notice. You know, it's too high of a cost to be arrogant. You know, this is one of these things where you can put your pride aside. You can get on your knees if required. If you in this case respecting the authority and following steps and put your pride and get on your knees, in this case you would be the hero. If you could put down, if you negotiating, if you agreeing, if you understanding can save hundreds and thousands of lives, that would be a move of strength to preserve what you still have. But instead he trying to show something walking on the graves of people, swimming in the blood of people, only to come back with tucked tail and say, "Ah, I'm ready." He would be lucky if he would be honored to even be negotiated with. Ideally, he should be replaced and he should be gone because he failed and sold his own people. I feel sorry for people who still believe in him. He used the 90s mafia tactics. I'm telling you for those because I know this firsthand. You know, in 1990s, that was the tactics. The mafia, we had mafia and mafia in law. We have so-called thieves in law. That's for the tactic. They were talking like kind of like rappers, and there was unwritten rules, and you come and you threaten, and who threatened the most gets their way. And he decided to use that in a Oval Office. All of us from Ukraine, all of us who know what's been going on there, you know, some decades before, we all recognize the patterns. You know, he has to be like this. He has to come out and like, no, you don't understand. I know you don't know shit. Sorry for my French, but he doesn't. He was the one not knowing that Donald Trump, once again, is not obligated to know every single thing in Ukrainian history, understanding of our ethnic problems. Only the people who were born and raised in Ukraine understand our ethnic issues. You will never be able to, even my son who was born here would never be able to understand certain ethnic issues and resentments that we have. And it's a very, very complex situation. Right now, it's not about the complexity, it's about simplicity, how we can simplify this, negotiate so we don't lose what's left. Left is 1/3 is already destroyed. The tragedy will take decades to recover, but let's save what's left. That's the only things that Donald Trump is saying. Let's save. Let's not let it go for another 5 years. Let's not decide for Putin what he will or will not do. Let's cease the fire. Let's try to save what we have so we can start rebuilding, so we can start recovering. But most people do not understand this. Another thing is for reality check is a simple question. If you support this fake effeminate leader who likes to wear heels and tights off duty, would you send your son to fight for him, or with his leadership? A lot of people that I know that threatened me on my Facebook post because I had to let my steam out. I had to tell how embarrassed and disappointed I was in Zelensky. Wrote me all these things that I hate Ukraine, that blah blah blah, but none of them having their sons in the war. They say no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't send my son there, but yours should go and fight. You know, I wouldn't send my son there, but your son should go and fight. Your son should be just should hold the meat grinder for 5 minutes. You know, everything you put in your child, all the effort, all the future, you should throw all that away for the ambition of a bisexual, effeminate, for leader in a for masculine suit. Yes, you should really do that. And he's planning this for many more years. He's self-elected. I just think as a woman, you can never support another day of war, another hour of war, another second of war, because as women, we know what it takes to produce, what it costs us to raise a son, to give birth to a son, to love a son, to grow. We know what it costs. Fathers and mothers know what it costs how many years it takes, how much effort, and they were born to strive. They were not born to die for stupidity. It's different when you are somewhere out and you get threatened. Hopefully you did raise a son that will protect you. If you're a mother, if you're a wife and that's your husband. I'm all about men learning martial arts, learning how to defend, knowing how to use a firearm, but not for the ambition of the weird, wicked, gay president. I'm just gonna say like it is, who has his family as a fucking beard and does not care to save what's left. Made so many mistakes, had so many opportunities, but decided to go for the gold at the small price of survival of his entire country. You know, sometimes you have to cut your losses. We all know that. Sometimes you cannot get back what you had, but at least you can preserve what's left. My heart bleeds for all the mothers and wives and children, all the civilians and all the destruction. My heart bleeds. I can't not feel it. And I cannot unsee the fakeness, the display of fake masculinity. Guys, we talk a lot about masculinity and femininity here. The lack of masculinity destroys the world. It takes lives. Don't look at somebody just wearing a suit or a how to call this, or a sweatsuit trying to show I'm with the guys, I'm on the front lines. Don't do that. We always need to look at man's actions, and his actions is sell everything you can. Don't worry if your country gets completely and utterly destroyed. Just sell, sell, sell. Buy, buy, buy. Yes, a lot of Ukrainians were hurt that Zelensky got comments on his outfit because they are in the war. But you have to understand, yes, the people of Ukraine are in the war and struggling. But Zelensky is above the war. He's using that as relatability factor. But he is not on the front line. He's sitting on a beautiful chair at the Oval Office. And the symbol of the war got expired already. It was cool in the first couple days, maybe months, but not anymore. He's not there on the front lines. He's not with the guys. He's fully alive and well nurtured at the cost of everybody else. Thank you guys for joining my outrage rant. I could not believe what I saw, what I heard. And well, we are yet to see. I don't know what the latest updates are, but it's gonna be, he has no, sometimes there are times when you have to submit or you will be gone and replaced. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really don't want to make political videos. I don't have a political channel, and it's not as political as you might think. It's really not. I'm talking about the fakeness, the real masculine man. I want to honor all the masculine men. The real masculine men will never sacrifice lives. They will sacrifice their life, their interest, but they will protect. They will give their life, not sacrifice others, thousands and millions of lives for their interest. That's the difference. That's why he is not masculine. He is not this leader that people think. He's a wicked person. You know, when I saw his gay wicked videos, I could not believe that. Some of you may or may not know, I studied my college was not so far from the comedy club where he was a comedian, you know, when he was much younger, obviously, and I was in school. And I used to go to his performances. I saw him in the real life. Never in a million years I could imagine that he would be a leader of anything. And yes, he was playing different roles, but after you've seen his gay roles, oh, his outfits in thigh highs and heels, you can't trust this person lead anything. I am of a very strong belief that metrosexual, bisexual, and gay men are too effeminate. They're too weak to lead. They don't have they broke their masculinity. They emasculated themselves. They cannot be trusted. It sounds that I hate gay people. I don't hate gay people or bisexual people, but I don't think that they're fit to have responsibility to lead the country or the world, because they compromise themselves. They are lost. They have wickedness to them, and they emasculated themselves. I just only recently saw his clips in high heels and tights. I don't want to see that. I knew him as a comedian, but I don't assume that every comedian or every man who's playing a woman is necessarily gay or bisexual. Sometimes you just play a role. Some people just talented. And when he was in a comedy club, there were some simple times. I was a student. I was having fun. I never, I mean, it was entertainment. Not much more than that. My dear friends, all right, I'm done. Let me read some of your comments. Yes, I had a honor of seeing him in real life. I wasn't his friend, but I was in a sort of, it was I don't know in English how to say it, tusovka. It was a socializing thing, so I couldn't say that, I knew him personally really well, but, it was a social circle where I knew him from. I'm gonna read from the bottom. Thank you guys for joining. If you enjoy my videos, if you enjoy my talks, please remember to comment, to put a like, to subscribe. If you disagree with me, feel free to share your opinion. Hey, the voyager, the traveler. Hi, Chuck. I think it's you. In truth, is what he did was a slap in the face to your country. Yes, it was a slap in the face of real men, masculine men, brave men that are on the front, who are actually on the front lines, that would love to take a shower and take a suit on and talk to the president of the United States, but they don't have that opportunity because they're on the front line. Some bleeding, some hungry, some starving. He was supposed to represent them, but he betrayed them. He betrayed their sacrifice. It is definitely a slap into the face of Ukraine having such a horrible representative. Thank you, Furious Angel. Which country is this? Thank you for the kind words. I am a Ukrainian, ethnically from Ukraine, but I live in the United States. And on this channel, we are talking about things that going on in the world, about masculinity, femininity. We talk about relationships. We talk about everything. Power dynamics, emotional intellect, and lack of it. My favorite topics is talking about love and connection, but when my country is under fire, the least I can do is to share. So many people reach out to me on social media. I want to know my opinion on this, and I'm sharing it right now. Thank you guys for supporting my channel, for watching my channel. I'm still on a bit of a bad side of YouTube, so your comments, your support is highly appreciated. Thank you. And I will post my information and my links under this video once it's done. You can also find it in the description. Thank you for responding. Difficult times in your home country. It must be so hard seeing what's going on when you're so far. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Furious Angel. It's very difficult. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it. Elizabeth, my darling, thank you so much. Elizabeth is posting some links. If you want to get in touch with me, you can write to my email. You can support the channel alternatively, and I will highly appreciate that. You can follow the links if you want to see more or want to support. But one of the great way to support is simply put a like and comment or share my videos. Absolutely free for you. The truth is hard for some to hear, so he will have to answer for his actions. God will not be mocked. He absolutely will have to answer for his actions. For those who just joined, we talk about Zelensky. You sometimes you have to just dig deeper. Just dig deeper and see for how things really are. A lot of people are very successful with putting a facade. Um, I want to say something to Carl. Zelensky put himself in a position he doesn't have a choice, not accept. He already effed it up. He put himself in a position where nobody cares what he says. That's something to understand. In order to accept or not accept, you need to have power. He doesn't have any. As a disabled combat veteran, I can see what she's saying. For I have been on the battlefield. She's speaking correctly. Thank you so much, Chuck, and thank you for your service. Thank you so much for your service. When you're on a battlefield, when you're giving your life, you bring in the ultimate sacrifice, the very least you can expect from your government is to be on your side, is to honor you, is to try to end it as soon as possible so you have a chance to survive and go back home. You don't have the luxury of saying, I accept this, I'm not accept. You don't have any power. You encouraged, you dragged this war for so long. You never tried on your own to negotiate. You never had the balls to call the person. Yes, that person attacked your country. It's a very, very complex situation. There was conflicts in between the countries. But where were your balls? Where he was demolishing cities and people, why didn't you pick up the phone and have the courage to talk to him and negotiate with him 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago? Why did you wait for outside people to have to step in? And now you blame everybody? You don't have the right to choose now. You will be lucky. I mean, Zelensky would be lucky if Trump even consider him anymore. Zelensky, if he really has balls, where his balls were when he saw dead men on the fields bleeding? His arrogance was more important than picking up that phone and saying, okay, let's make something work. I'm not saying this is fair. I'm not saying that attacks on Ukraine and Ukrainian losses and Ukrainian tragedy is fair. It's not fair in any size, shape, or form. But he did not dare. He didn't have the balls to call and ask for ceasefire himself. He only asked for the backup from the West, so more blood, more deaths, and more destruction takes place. Ask people who are on the front lines. Ask mothers that had to send their sons for death. Ask those wives and mothers and sisters who only later on learned that their men were taken from the streets and dragged into the fire. We have this expression in Ukraine and Russia. It's a Russian and Ukrainian. It's called "чужими руками жар загребать." "Чужими руками жар загребать." It means picking up hot coal with somebody else's hands and take credit for it. He put his sweatshirt as a display of him being masculine, while he uses the hands of people, other people's hands, to pick up the burning coal. Oh, at least he didn't wear his high heels and ties to the meeting to completely embarrass us. Good Lord. Oh, thanks, Casey. Yeah, he's not acting. He's not acting in the best interest of people whatsoever. He gives feminists a reason to believe that patriarchy is a failure. Well, he's not. Patriarchy is not a failure. Women were not made to handle stress and pressure. It doesn't mean we can't, but we were not made to handle stress and pressure. That's why we need men to protect us. Men generally has one job, to protect us, and he failed at that job. But he's not a man, he's a bisexual. I'm sorry, but I do not consider bisexual or gay men real men. I don't hate them, but I don't think they should be in power. That's all. If you compromise your masculinity, you should act accordingly. Just leave people alone. Look at Trudeau, look at Macron, look at Zelensky. I mean, I can't even talk about it. I'm gonna read some of the more comments. CCGB, hello, darling. Welcome, welcome. So great to see you, Sherry. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I'm ranting here today. I'm just so outraged. I had to spend 3 days. But I talked to people, and I got attacked from some. I had to block a few members, like extended members of family, because I'm just not gonna. I will unblock them later. Yeah, look at Georgia Maloney. She's a warrior. Yeah, I'm proud of her for standing up. The problem is, my dear friends, when the men become feminine, women become masculine. When men having these feminine traits of being undecisive or not knowing what he wants, being in the air, feminine nature immediately takes a masculine side. Because when there is no lion to protect, a lioness becoming strong and aggressive, because she knows that's her time. She can't be relaxing. She has to be strong, and that's exactly what Georgia Meloni is doing. Thank you, CCGB. Much love to you as well. Thank you. Well, I'm very blessed and lucky. Thank you, CCGB. I appreciate you. Chuck is saying, my baby girl was born while I was at war. Listen to her. You can't understand this unless you have experience. Yeah, I cannot imagine how you felt. You were not able to be with your child, experience that, not knowing if you're gonna come back. And, I've never been at war, but my grandparents, both of my grandfathers survived the World War II. And I'm glad that they have passed away, because if they would see this, that we are now turned against each other, whew, I know they're turning in their grave right now. Babushkas are not impressed with Zelensky. Ukrainian babushkas, Ukrainian grandmothers are so much more masculine and strong than this fake persona. I just saw a Ukrainian elderly woman scold Zelensky behavior. Yeah, I have no doubts at that. We raised our men not to be thrown in a meat grinder for nothing. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you for love and support. Oh my gosh, my blood was boiling and boiling and boiling. Oh. Everybody who joined now, I made some points in the beginning of the video, so watch it when you can. I talked about Zelensky outfit, about him making mistakes, not bringing interpreter, of his stupid attitude, of him over talking the master, over talking the boss, of his weird losing strategy, of him not reading the most important books. You look like you want to cry. I'm praying for you. You have so much courage. Thank you for your thoughts. Well, thank you so much. You know, I have courage in terms of not telling the things to have friends, you know, in terms of not to be a people pleaser, because, you know, a lot of family and friends, people I know, they just want me to submit to their opinion and just, I don't know. I just cannot stand it. The people who really have courage are right now bleeding on the fields. But at least the very least we can do is to honor them. Carol, it's a bit more complicated than what you're writing. Okay, it has a long history of the conflict, and that's what most people don't know. We have long history of the conflict, and unless you're born there, you will never understand it. No, my not whole argument is not about his suit. Absolutely not. My whole argument is with Zelensky selling his country. That's my argument. Yes. Zelensky gotta stop letting his people die for his ego. Yes. Can't read your name, but yes. Zelensky seemed like he just wanted the money for military help. There needs to be peace, not war. The people of Ukraine and Russia want peace, not war. Yes. The thing is, you know, more help, more, let's say he got more help, more military, more people, it's still gonna have more destruction. So now not 1/3, but half or 75 or 80 or 90% of people and cities will be destroyed. You know, sometimes you have to cut your losses. Yeah, he wants to have armor to fight. He's not interested in peace. You can see that. He doesn't even want to talk about it. But now, as I'm speaking, I'm sure he is begging to see Donald Trump again. I know that. He apologized. He's regretful for the meeting. And yet this is how feminine he is. He said, I'm regretful the things instead of saying this, he could have owned it. He could have admit that you're not regretful for the meeting, you apologize for not having a clear vision and intentions and screwing up the whole thing. He's indirectly apologizing, but because people pumped him up for, you know, you go, you know, you go, girl. You know how they say in America. People pump him up for something that they can't afford to help him with. He's like, yeah, go, keep going. We can't help you, but keep going. He should have owned it, not just regretful that things did not turn out. No, you were given a chance and you fucked it up. Of course, he think it's some kind of game of back and forth. That's another thing of feminine, effeminate men. They think it's back and forth. They talk on top of you, just like teenagers. Teenagers, especially in America, don't understand that you don't talk to an adult on the same level as you are, and you follow subordination. You know, it was interesting. My son, who is a teenager, telling me, well, don't you think that Zelensky was a little bit, that Trump was a little bit direct and rude with him? And I told him, you know, you have your coach. My son does martial arts. He got his black belt when he was 12. He does very aggressive martial arts right now. And he has a coach that is 20 years UFC fighter, retired guy. He was he got titles. He has history. He earned to be the, on this legendary level. I asked him, would you ever talk to him like Zelensky talked to Trump? I was, oh God, no, absolutely not. I'm honored when he is around. I look up to him. He was not sure when he asked this question, but then when I asked him, would he ever talk to this man the way Zelensky talked to Trump? And he answered his own question. You don't come to ask for help and backup with insults and disrespect. Nobody needs to know your history in detail. Nobody needs to understand all those things. They try not to make it more complex. Trump's goal was to simplify, tame the aggressor, tame the dictator. I mean, there are two dictators now, but tame the one that came with a war. Tame him. Talk him into peace. Because what are the other alternatives? Like for everyone to die? That's the alternative? Oh, yes, and thank you for your service, Chuck, and everybody who was in the military. I've never been in the military. My grandma on my father's side was in the Navy in World War II. Father, my grandpa on my mother's side is a World War II veteran. He's a colonel. He was an extremely brave man. He was in a tank, like I don't know, tanker or tankist. He was in a tank. He survived the Battle of Kursk, and he was an incredible man. Never talked about his medals, his honors, but he was an honorable man. He was very dedicated, very strong, somebody you can buy. They don't do men like this anymore. And the father of my father was also in the war and also came back, but he was just like a regular soldier, which is he didn't have education to go higher in hierarchy, so to speak. But he also came back. I've never met him because he died before I was born. But my grandpa on my mother's side, I was very blessed to get to know him. I spent some summers with him, and he was a man that I honor, and that's why I feel so passionate about it. Because we have this genetic memory. We are very connected to the World War II events through family, through our grandparents, and through our education. We learned about it. We are only here speaking because our grandfathers and grandmothers paid the ultimate sacrifice. So I don't want to hear how somebody wants to prolong the neighbor brother killing war, literally in this case. And I don't need anybody to tell me about our conflicts. I grew up there, inside of that. Thank you, CCGB. You're the best. Terry, hello, my friend. Hello. Yes, for those of you guys who just joined, please watch the video from the beginning. I made a lot of points. Yeah, I really tried. Furious Angel is saying, I live in the UK. Our ancestors fought in the wars for our freedom and safety. Yes, exactly. And now, you have also some issues with certain leaders. Ukrainian soldiers were cannon fodder. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. During the Soviet Union, they were second-class citizen all the way up to Afghanistan war. That's not exactly true. I want to tell you that in Soviet time, all the nations were so united people. In the Soviet Union, it was a huge, huge country, the biggest country in the world, so many nationalities, so many religions. And so people were so united inside of it. We didn't divide ourselves into Russian, Ukrainians, into Tajik, into Kazakh, into Georgian, and into Armenians. We were all together, and people fought the World War II was only won by Soviet Union. Well, we got some help from US as well. It's very true. It was very important. But the bravery of uniting of all the soldiers, so all the soldiers in whole USSR, we really did not divide each other. We were all the same. It was powerful. It was kind of similar to the United States idea. It's kind of similar to the idea of the United States of unity, because it's a melting pot. We have so many nationalities and people here, first generation people from different countries, right? And very similar was in Soviet Union. We didn't. It's right now. A lot of Ukrainian people are hurt, and they said that they were second-class citizenship. It's not exactly true. Yes, the center of Soviet Union wasn't Moscow. They had more powerful things, but a lot of people from Ukraine, moved to Russia because there were maybe more opportunity in some way in terms of career, in terms of science, and things of this. But we had never. It was a very uniting thing, and once again, I said that our grandfathers are turning in their graves right now, because in World War II, in 1940s, all our nationalities, all the men were united together. They were fighting together. They were breaking bread together. Russians, Ukrainians, Armenian, Georgian, Kazakh, Belarus, and so on, Tatarstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, all of these countries were eating bread together. Of course, there could be some moments, but in the war, with everything, how badly Soviet Union set the Soviet Union set they set them up so poorly, so they were so unprepared. But the bravery of this soul, of this united spirit, takes probably the first place in winning the World War II. Of course, with ally support, such as America, United States, England, France. Thank you, CCGB. I appreciate you. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you for the love. My father served in such a unit in US Marine Corps. They called them Walking Dead in Vietnam. Yeah. Cannon fodder means first to fight. Oh, okay, I got it. Like meat grinder. Yeah, like oh my gosh, that's horrible. In Soviet Union, they admit doing this. They were throwing soldiers just to hold the attack for a couple hours. They would throw like 500,000 men just hold on attack for a day. It's horrible. And this is, in World War II, it was Nazi Germany versus Soviet Union. Right now, it's a country that shares DNA and blood against each other. And the reason a lot of people are surprised how Ukraine withstand the aggression, the pain for so many years, and 11 years total and 3 years full scale. And this is a difference. The passion and power you have when you defend yours with all your might versus when you attack somebody and you don't even know why. The motivation, the strength, the passion, the fuel is different. When you are told to go attack somebody, you don't really feel like doing it. You're not motivated. But when you protect your mother, your motherland, your sister, your wife, you're gonna have 10x the mental and physical power, because you just getting charged from this. You're gonna fight till your last drop of blood. It's a different level of strength and passion. So that is why, of course, with the help and equipment of the West, undoubtedly, but also because people are 10x as powerful when then they protect theirs because they have the motivation to protect it. All right, guys, we're gonna be wrapping up. Thank you for coming. Ukraine and U.S. partnership involves Ukraine's minerals, I believe. Yeah, it does. U.S. sends aid for wars and get minerals in return. Yes, I guess. I mean, it's a very complicated situation. Okay, U.S. was supposed to protect Ukraine by 1994 guarantees for security, and Russia was supposed to respect its borders, and we see what we see. So it's very complex, but I think in this case, it's not a bad deal for Ukraine to sign because with American presence on Ukrainian land, think what's going to happen. They will have to stop attacking. And Ukrainian government is very oblivious to that. With US presence on Ukrainian soil, with US presence on Ukrainian soil, it's many steps closer to peace because Russia will have to stop to attack. Do you know or have family on to the other side? Of course I do. I'm from Ukraine. I have unfortunately still some family and many friends, many people I love and care about who live there. And I hear things firsthand. Not everybody feels the same as I do, but most people do. Most honest people do. Most honest people know it must be over. And then we can talk and be philosophical and learn history facts. But right now, the killing needs to stop. Native Americans also call America motherland or mother. A very similar concept, yeah. Yeah, for me, seeing for anybody from Ukraine, seeing your mother, the land that birthed you, being torn apart. The problem with Ukraine is that Ukraine is fighting two enemies at the same time. The outside enemy, the Russian troops, Russian attacks, and the inside enemy, corruption. It's like a rust. It's like a virus within that eats you like cancer. Corruption inside, division inside, some conflicts inside, and torn apart by the outside force. Which is, it's easier to withstand the outside when you have unity inside. It's easier to withstand the outside enemy. But unfortunately, Ukraine, I just want you to understand, Ukrainian corruption, there are many great people and brave people and talented people, so many talents. But Ukraine is rotten by that cancerous corruption. Just like Venezuela, just like many Latin American countries, Mexico, all these countries that has corruption in their bones. Whew. Yes, so it's very complicated. But the good things, one of my friend, I shared about this. She's so heartbroken, worrying about her son, and like she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I need to hide my child. And I told her, do not worry. The person that is selling our country, my native country, in her current country is done. He is done. He either does what the father says or he is gone, because there is no other option. And that makes me happy that nothing depends from this effeminate bisexual, lost, wicked person. that already failed. He had the chance to be a hero because in the beginning of the war, everyone, including me partially, saw that he could be a hero because he displayed some masculinity for a moment, but then he played too hard and he overplayed his time. When he played too much, he got into his image too much. He could have turned it in his favor and negotiate and stop the war. He would be a national hero if he would have the balls to talk to Putin, to have talks, peace talks, helping America to negotiate. But he got into greedy for the stuff in exchange for the death and destruction. And that's why he is anti-hero. He's the scum of the earth right now. And he will remain this way. And even people who support him, once they going to show, once Trump going to investigate and show all the monies that went offshore accounts, all the equipment that was sold to Afghanistan and Latin America, once this all is proven, people who support Zelensky, they will no longer support him. Okay, let me read some more comments. History is always about to repeat itself. It's anyway strange that this former actor, as a leader, used to dress as a little gay man. Yeah, vote for a masculine leader. I agree, alpha high value man. I agree with that. This is my entire video was about this. Man, don't trust a gay man to be in power. Again, I have no hatred toward people who are non-traditional orientation. One of my best friends is gay, and I mean, we're not in touch so much right now, but he was one of my best friends. Believe it or not, we never talked about that. We talked about other things as unite us as humans. What I'm trying to say is that I don't hate people who have a different orientation. I mean, they are there, I'm here, but I don't think it's the best. I don't think that that's what nature or God intended, but I don't wish harm on anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. But are they capable of leading? No, they're absolutely not. Because they are enduring a life of suffering. They're not able to lead. Does Zelensky honestly believe he will be able to push the Russians back to 2014? I don't know. I don't think he does really believe in that. And it's too bad that Ukraine is going to lose the territories. It's too bad. But there is nothing that can be done at this point. I think most Ukrainians would rather lose the territory than lose their sons or husbands. It's very unfair. But sometimes you have to accept the reality. Would you ever go back to live in Ukraine if war ended? Perhaps to be with family or career, or America you only see as your home now? Well, Furious Angel, you're definitely new on my channel. I'm an American citizen, and big part of my family right now here in United States is my home. But I would absolutely love to be able to come to Ukraine and visit for the longest periods of time. I would love to have a second home there. It was my first home, but I would like to have a second home. Yeah, you definitely knew, which is okay. You couldn't know this, but yes, I'm an American citizen and I have been here in America for 17 years. So I'm person, in my mind, I'm international person. I love seeing the world. I don't really attach my identity to necessarily nationality. I do have certain cultural aspects due to, growing up in Ukraine. But I love the world. I want world to be in peace. I want to live in many more countries, travel, explore. And I absolutely would like to have peace for my homeland for everybody, not just for my family and friends. I just wanted to stop. I genuinely want this as whole civilized world. We are in this together. We want the blood to stop. But yeah, yeah, I did not come to US with you for you. I brought some of my family here, and I'm grateful to God for that. I'm grateful to God to have some of my family, some of my most loved, precious people here with me. Thank you, CCGB. Yes, guys, if you enjoy my videos, if you want me to buy a cup of coffee or something like that for the time I spend or for the message I give, I very much appreciate it. You can see the links. CCGB, thank you so much. Uh, KZ, watch his dancing videos and you will answer your question. I saw him performing again. I was in college when Zelensky was in comedy club. I saw his performances. I didn't realize that he was gay or bisexual, but because he was doing comedy, back then this whole gay stuff wasn't even popular at all. I didn't even know. I mean, I was lucky to live my life without this. But yeah, sadly. Veronica will only go back if there are fur in Ukraine. Well, there is always fur in Ukraine. Why do you think I love fur? We like our fur. We like beauty. I'm from, Eastern European women love beauty. Yes, I do have a like a glamorous retro fashion women's shop. I will post all my links um in in the first comment under the video so you can check out what I do. But I also, I believe in restoration of masculine and feminine dynamics, and I talk a lot about this on my channel. You will find a lot of dating videos, a lot of Slavic American mentality difference videos. So yes. 17 years, that explain your great English. Oh, thank you. Okay, ignore me, Zen. You talk so much with so much intelligence and intellect. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not gonna ignore you. You're not supposed to know. You're just new on the channel, so you're welcome. So yes, we can only hope that peace will be restored, peace will be negotiated, and the country will be restored. And that's why I believe in the natural dynamics in polarity between men and women. As women, we can do a lot. We have a lot of our own strengths. Sometimes we don't even know how strong we are, because till we're thrown in a circumstance. But I believe that men were made by nature, by God, to be able to protect and provide. And that's why in America, society is falling apart because people are confused in many ways. People are confused about their contribution to society. I don't know. Who do you think will be next Ukrainian president? I don't know, but I think probably Zaluzhny. Probably Zaluzhny. But I don't know. We have such a huge corruption in Ukraine that people who are really talented and smart, they have hard times to be elected. Usually it's corruption even there. You can have all the talent and still not be elected. You can be brilliant and not have any way to have power or be in a on the public eye, have the support, have a, you know, campaign for you. So, but there are definitely brilliant and smart people. If you are in US, maybe in your area, if you have Slavic people, it doesn't even matter, Russian, Ukrainian, Belarus, they have their things, that they always about education, always about hard work, always about taking care of kids, always about limiting the stupid video games and their children doing sports and studying. We have these things that are usually true. You know how they say the funny things about stereotypes? They're often true. It really applies to Slavic Eastern European culture. You know, a lot of friends I know open their businesses. We just don't give up. That's one thing about Slavic and Eastern European people. We have resilience. We don't give up easily. But you know, there are limits to everything. Man, hey Ducati Darren. Um, I remember when I was in Dnipro last year visiting a lady and we got hit by rockets. Oh my gosh. I was sheer terrified. I'll never forget that. Yes. Imagine living in that every day. Imagine having little children in that every day. Imagine being on front lines, bleeding to death every day, or dying, or it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. When I see those men cold, uh, starving, bleeding, I it haunts me for days, months, and years. There is nothing worse than the country leader that betrays the most brave. There is nothing worse than that. And it's impressive, Darren, that you went there during the war. It's impressive. Not an easy thing to do, but you showed that ladies that you are in fact a masculine man, because most men would not dare to go there. I cannot go there because I simply cannot see that. I cannot see that. I'm so it's such a trauma, but that's for another video. You look so beautiful as always. I like the Cleopatra hair. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate it. Thank you. You can get used to rocket attacks. You can get used to anything, but you can't really get used to it. You just leave how to learn in survival mode. You know, it's horrific to my opinion, but yeah, definitely some corruption, unfortunately, yeah, to say the least. Ducati Darren says, hey Darren, thanks Veronica, I did feel some way when I left Ukraine. I'm going back to my safe country while all the good people I left had to withstand that. Yes, tough times don't last, tough people do. Yes, I know we are not on the same page with you, but I'm telling you that an American president right now wants to end that. He can't guarantee that everything gonna be perfect, but he wants to end this. He wants to end the rockets, the people, the attacks, the blood, and then have a conversation. And that is so important because before that, they only talk about aid, more arms, more armor, but more tanks, more whatever. But Ukraine need no tanks, no arms. Ukraine needs nothing. Ukraine needs peace and protection. Ukraine needs peace. The world needs peace. Yes, protection. Yes, guards, but not not more blood, not more destruction, not more rocket hits. Ukrainian soldiers are great allies to US. We shouldn't abandon them. We have to get rid of corruption. Yeah, guys, I want to tell you something. I belong to Telegram groups and Instagram conversations. Ukrainian soldiers are asking for socks and underwear. The corruption is insane. You may or may not like Donald Trump. You know that I respect him for so many reasons, but one thing should be not depending on your political beliefs is that peace. It has to be settled. It has to be solved. Papers needs to be signed. And I don't dare anybody to not follow the agreements with Donald Trump. I don't think it's a good idea. So once certain people sign agreement with Donald Trump, they know they cannot break those agreements. And it just has to stop. It's not about politics right now. It's about common sense. The blood has to stop. Period. As simple as that. We can't return the dead people. It's gonna take centuries to rebuild all the destruction, but it just has to stop. I should have went live on Friday night. I was, oh my gosh, my blood. I could feel my blood boiling, just boiling. I was just outraged, but I was afraid that my whole presentation would be nothing but the curse words in both languages, in 3 languages or 4 languages that I could curse in. Thanks, Veronica. Yes, I read that. I was waiting for you on Friday. Yeah, well, I was with family, and I was actually talking with my family and close friends in Ukraine because they needed me, and I needed them. So I hear firsthand how they felt, how betrayed they felt. Some were upset, but they were not in my family. I made a post on Facebook about it. Don't really use Facebook a lot, but I needed to take my frustration somewhere, so I made a post on Facebook, and some of friends and people I went to school with were attacking me that I don't understand anything, where they are sitting in fear and exhausted by the war, but they got, sometimes, guys, you have to understand, sometimes you have to believe to your torturer, to your leader, because you're dying for him. Some people believe in Stalin. Some people who went to the World War II, who went through the war, who went through the horrific losses, who fought the war. I knew some veterans from World War II that believe that Stalin was God, that he was the best leader, because they sacrificed their entire life. For them to say that they fought for tyrant, that defeats their life goal. They cannot accept it. So I think that a lot of Ukrainian people, they realize that Zelensky is evil, but they cannot admit that, because that would their losses, their loss of home, loss of comfort, loss of family members, they have to lose it for great ideas. They have to lose it for a great leader. They have to lose it for somebody. Losing it for a scam, losing it for a scammer, losing it for a faux persona is too painful to accept. So I think a lot of people, they subconsciously know who Zelensky is, because you can't not see how he kept selling. But I think admitting that is hard. Trump does not have weakness to Ukraine. By him posing all aid to Ukraine, he is forcing Zelensky to be willing to negotiate peace. Because you don't get help, you are forced to negotiate peace. That's exactly what he is doing. Trump does not have weakness, and especially he doesn't have weakness with Ukraine. He puts an ultimatum: either you get on the program, either you start taking accountability, either you sit down at the table and try to work things out. Oh, good luck. If you're so cool, if you're so independent, if you're doing everything by yourself, as you mentioned at the Oval Office, okay, good for you, we respect you, but you also get no help. It's just the same as with being with a teenager. A teenager throw a threat, entitlement, devalue everything you've done for them. Says they want to emancipate, go rent themselves a place so they can do what they think they need to do instead of studying. But then they're like, oh, how do I emancipate? I don't have a job. I can't rent a place. I can't buy a car. Oh, damn, I have to go back to my mom and dad. I guess, I guess I don't have leverage in this. I don't have power in this. That's Zelensky right there. He has led his people into a disaster, a disaster, a destruction. And Trump showed him, without us, you have no power. So you better be willing to negotiate to save your own people and stop the war. He said he doesn't want another 5 years of this. Who wants another 5, 10, 20, I don't know, years of this? I can tell you the insider information. In Ukraine, they are already grooming children in schools that it's going to be ongoing war. It's going to be something to accept. Same as in Israel, when in Palestine, that they groom generations, kill the Jewish people, kills them, their enemy. Yasser Arafat had so many peace proposals, dozens of peace proposals. He denied them all because he likes to be in a condition of war. We are victims. We are getting attacked. Give us money. Give us money. All I can say is wait and see. I am standing very strong for the end of the blood. I cannot imagine any person who does not want for war to end, the blood to end. You cannot control what somebody will do. Somebody will follow, not follow. He was told that if you sit down and you make these agreements, you in fact will be backed up. Putin will have to deal with Trump if he doesn't follow an agreement. You can't control what somebody else will do. You can only control your actions. And if you deny even a conversation, even diplomatic action, if you are slamming the doors, you come in, you neglect the etiquette, you neglect the common sense behavior, what do you expect? You expect that people are going to be running after you, begging you, when you have no leverage, you have no power. Zelensky really did not think that Trump never forgives disrespect. He deserves respect. Even if you don't like him, he's not your kind of person, nobody cares. He took a bullet. He was marked dead in a certain people's book. No, I'm not defending Arafat. I'm saying that Arafat was going around begging. He had so many peace proposals, so many ways to solve the issues. Many Palestinians are leaving Israel, live in Tel Aviv because they can work and have career and have life. Arafat sold his country just like Zelensky is selling his right now. He sold his country for donations. He never want to resolve. He never want to make peace. And he was, they want Palestine forever be a victim. Arafat want Palestine to be a forever beggar victim. Most Ukrainians I know never want to be dependent. They want to work, they want to strive, they want to get education, they want to have families. We don't really have the welfare mentality. Even in the United States, you know, very few Ukrainians or Russians or Slavic people or Eastern Europeans that live on a welfare. We want to have our destiny in our own hands. We don't need you know, this, how you call it, when you throw a bone to a dog, you know. We want to have control our own lives. How can you have control when you have no power? You can't. David, thank you so much. He says, Veronica, get yourself a drink on me. Thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to this rant. Oh, yes, yes. So anyway, my dear friends, thank you so much for joining and supporting. You know, I don't mind, you know, spending time and having these discussions. I just think that, uh, you know, sometimes we need to abandon like some of the beliefs and some of our, you know, conclusions. Sometimes it's just about common sense. It's just about common sense. If you don't want to send your son to war, your husband, your lover, your friend, your brother, your father, why do you send other people to war? To war that they can't win, by the way. Look at the size of Ukraine. Look at the size of Russia. Ukrainians will end an ending way before the Russians will. Do you know how scary it is when you send your child, your son, your brother, your husband outside to go do something and they never come back because Zelensky armed forces pull men out of their cars. There are cars standing in Kharkiv, cars standing on the streets, on the roads, because they stop, they pull men out of those cars and they throw them into front lines like meat. You think this way you can stop an aggression instead of diplomacy? How many more thousands, hundreds, thousands of men need to die for Zelensky to sit down? If not for Trump, who put an ultimatum. You do what needs to be done, or you are over with. Well, yeah, the warmongers are unhinged. Yeah, they just, you know, it's nice to go fight with somebody else's hands. Why not? Everybody can fight with somebody else's hands, right? But try to send your son, your daughter, your loved one. You will feel differently. It doesn't matter what party you support. Yes, for Zelensky, this is just a quick win, just a cash grab, just a way to enrich. But you know what I don't understand? Okay, you're in the war, you're grabbing cash, right? You're grabbing assets. But how are you going to enjoy these assets if your country is demolished to dust? You're president of the desert? Like, you can't even enjoy the money you have stolen unless you leave the country and you don't die from the rocket hit before it. Like, you're gonna have your historical we have so many places in Ukraine that belong to world's history treasure, you know, the art. If you're new to my channel, look at the Kiev sightseeing, look at the historical 11th, 12th century cathedrals. All of that could be demolished, not to mention people. Well, he will leave. What if the rocket hits his place? Like, I understand when you're corrupt and you just steal money from the people. I mean, I don't understand, but you steal money from the people, but it's more or less it's peaceful. But when you take the money, the assets, and you get demolished every night, I don't quite get it. It's like the same. Imagine somebody comes to your house, you have a nice house. Somebody comes, or just normal house. Somebody comes and say, you know what? I'm gonna destroy. We're gonna demolish your house, but we're gonna give you like some amount of money. But you don't want your house to be demolished. It's not worth it. It's all your memories, your culture, your family. You don't want a new house. You want to be on your land. And this is, this is a lot different because that's entire country. Your children, everything. You selling not just you you also setting up the world conflict, you know you setting up the conflict for the war. Everybody forgets that before Trump was elected, and a little after, before he officially became a president, there was nuclear conversations every day. Putin was threatening the nuclear every single day. I don't know if you knew that, if you saw that, he put his missiles to Cuba again just this October. His missiles were standing in Cuba, 90 miles from Key West, from Florida. So Zelensky, I don't know if you noticed that he wants also Western countries to fight. He wants England and Germany and France and Italy. He wants them to unite against US, and they want them to bring their army that will start a whole another level of a conflict. So entire world will be actively engaged in the war, all for his gains, all for his power. This is insanity. Sometimes you just have to look at it from just a logical standpoint. Thank you, CCGB. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, he will leave, but there were many explosions downtown. I don't know. I don't know. I remember when my son was little, he asked me if I would uh, change him for $1 billion. You know how kids ask those would you rather silly things. He's like, Mom, honestly, tell me honestly, would you change me for $1 billion? Would you replace me for $1 billion? I was like, of course not. You are irreplaceable. He was like, well, I don't know, Mom, honestly, I would take the money. But he also was maybe 8 years old, right? It only makes sense as a joke. It only makes sense as a joke. How can you replace irreplaceable? Billions of dollars cannot replace a historical building from 11th century. Billions of dollars cannot replace your children, your people you love. These are two different categories. And would you rather be a president of the powerful and strong country and be a peacemaker and be economic growth encourager? You would encourage people to invest, than being a president of sand, of a desert, of a demolished country that lost all its men. It's just insane, insane, insane. Oh, my dear friends from Michigan with love, I have to go. I am very I was crushed looking at that meeting. I was embarrassed. I was very embarrassed for Ukrainian representative, but I know that the power, he has no power, and that's the best news. We don't have much to worry about because he, like a toothless tiger, he has no power. And I think while I was making this video, he's probably already signing those papers and doing what he's supposed to do. He had his chances to negotiate. He has his chances to stop it. You know that Zelensky was only elected. I was watching it very closely because he promised to end the war on the East. He promised. I'm quoting. He said, I will do everything to stop the war. If needed, I'll get on my knees before Putin to stop the war. Stop the war on the east of Ukraine that has been taking place since 2014, not only 3 years right now. He said, you may be able to, I may be able to find this video on YouTube where he was swearing. That's why 75% of people voted for Zelensky, because he was swearing that he will stop the war, whatever it takes. He said, it's his words, that he would once again get on his knees before Putin to stop the war conflict on the east of Ukraine. Instead of it, he encouraged it. He made it worse. He never tried to do negotiation. He realized it's endless money grab, and he sold his soul and his country for it. Yeah, Zelensky meets with Trump again this weekend. Yeah, I'm sure. This is such a lesson to learn. Never try to threaten somebody who's more powerful than you, that have leverage on you, that have power over you in everything, because you will have to emasculate yourself, swallow your pride, and come back to them and look like an idiot, but you could have negotiated with dignity the first time. And a lot of times you're not going to have an opportunity to do it over again. Hello, DVCAZ. Pray for peace, work for peace. President Trump is a peacemaker. Yes, he is a peacemaker. I'm telling you, love him or hate him, he makes a very clear message every single time. I want the war to end. I want the killing to end. Thank you, Jason. Thank you guys for the kind words, for the compliments. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I want to thank to Daniel. Daniel, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate the coffee. Thank you. Daniel is saying, for your captivating live stream. I appreciate that, and welcome to my channel. Welcome. I took very long breaks from my channel because I was facilitating a big part of my family here in the last 2 years. Well, the first year was a mess, but then I was blessed by God to be able to get my family here from Ukraine, and so I was just indulging. I took a long break from YouTube, and I started to miss it after a while. And yeah, I was just indulging, having my family here. We have some little ones, and just guys, do you understand, after the year of I've never been in the war, but I was waking up here every morning rushing to see where it's hitting, where the bombings are, calling, texting. Sometimes there was no electricity, no connection, no Wi-Fi. Calling, texting my sister, calling, texting, checking if the children are okay, checking on my mom. And after a year of this horror, they were able to make it here, and I just wanted to just be lost in the moment. So I've abandoned my I reduced my internet by 90%, and so I just wanted to be in the moment. I just wanted to swim in love, to enjoy them, to just be off internet, and that was amazing. But it did took a hard hit on my channel, because when you're not consistent, you pay the price. So I'm very very blessed to reconnect, and I want to welcome the new people that may be stopping by. I'm very glad to have you here. Even if you don't share my opinions, you're welcome. You're welcome to share yours as long as you are respectful. And my channel is generally about love and dating and emotional intelligence and things like that. But I'm just so passionate about the situation, and I have no time to open a second channel. I can barely keep up with this one. So eventually I will organize my life and YouTube channel as well. I need to start doing short videos and nice thumbnails and editing and all of these things. But I know that I'm doing everything wrong, but my heart just wants to do it. I just want to come and speak and share. So, but yes. Oh, thank you, KZ. Don't make us cry, Veronica. I am a man. I can be seen with tears. You can be seen with tears when they are justified, you know? When the war ends, all masculine men can be seen with tears, you know? When it's a real reason, you know, not because you are feeling emotional. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Jason. I do not. I don't want to be insulting to anybody. If you don't feel this way, that's your right. I'm sorry. You know, we are not with you. We want these things to end. We are tired of the mess. You know, we are tired of money laundering. We are tired of billions of dollars going nowhere. You know, we are tired of it. We are tired of encouragement of the war. Well, my dear friends, with that being said, oh, you know, the power of growing up is that we don't have to react to every single comment. We don't have to react to every single comment, and that's okay. I miss my haters, you know, because I wasn't on internet for a while. I lost my haters too, so welcome. You can hate. And you know what? If you believe, if you miss weakness, if you miss Joe Biden, if you miss people who um, set up the war to go forever, that's your choice. I'm sorry to tell you this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeremy. And he says, uh, one of your best streams ever. Thank you. Yeah, I miss the haters. Yes, because you know they give you some fire. You know, I only don't miss the haters who are impersonators, who will come and talk. I had a couple haters that would even though my channel is pretty small, you know. I mean, my niche was very narrow. I had a few people that would put my photo and name, and would ask for donations or something, but I reported that. Yeah, haters are funny. Uh, I wish everybody to be able to make their own mind. You know, people who think that Trump supports Russia are so delusional. Are so delusional. How do you think you negotiate with a person that have as much power as you are? You think you threaten them? How far Joe Biden administration went with threatening Russia and tell him that Putin cannot be in power? How far? How much more cities get demolished while Joe Biden was threatening somebody? Instead of trying, people don't even understand what diplomacy is. the diplomacy used to save lives. I'm gonna give you this one quick personal example, and I have to go. Not political, but same would have certain relevancy, like a parallel. When I was in my teens, like late teens or early 20s, doesn't matter. I was at the event and I got set up by friends, and I was locked in a room with a man that was trying to do something very outrageous, very obnoxious, very inappropriate to me. Do you think I tried to fight him with my fists? I'm not I'm not into combat sports, unfortunately or fortunately. Do you think that I was trying to fight this man with my physical strengths, or do you think I tried to undermine him with my mind? I escaped of being raped, locked in a room with a man, because I use only this power that I have, only this and this. I undermined him. I'm not gonna go into details, but I left untouched, because if I would try to make him angry, if I would try to there is no way I could overpower an adult man. There is no way. I'm not a bodybuilder or anything like that. I hate heavy weights. So, but I did undermine him with my mind, and it was very uncomfortable. I was locked in. It was horrible, but nothing happened. I convinced him in some things, and I just, I used this. Yes, I was conning him. Absolutely. I would rather use diplomacy. And what would you choose? Being hurt, being physically hurt or raped as a woman, or use your leverage, use your creativity, use your manipulation to save your life? What do you do? And that's exactly what Trump is doing. He's trying to save the world from the aggressor, from the dictator. He doesn't call Putin dictator, not because everybody already knows that Putin is a dictator, that he is a maniac. The whole world knows that. There is no point to call him that. It's already clear to everybody. What he's trying to do, he's trying to undermine him. He's trying to tell him, oh, you're my friend. Well, he doesn't tell him you're my friend, but he tells him we possibly could co-work. We possibly could coexist. We possibly could have common interest. We possibly could have something together. We are standing for the same thing. We both want peace. He is trying to tame and undermine the person that has unlimited power in his country and has unlimited resource of people, a huge landmass, and who is an absolute maniac. He is trying to save. It's like, as a woman who has been, not only one time, when I've been in these situations, I was young, I was going out, I was a social butterflies in Kiev. We didn't have criminal stuff. You can be out and about. I used to go to many places with my friends. You think I've ever tried to overpower a man? I was foolish enough to be out and about and put myself in semi-dangerous situations, but I always use my mind, But it could have been that I would have lost and paid for being naive and not understand a certain place you don't go, after a certain time. But I thought I knew everything, as every young person, right? But you have to use your mind. That's why diplomacy saving the world. As I said, in 1962 we were saved by John Kennedy, that did not get into drama with Khrushchev. It was ready to pull the red button. And it doesn't guarantee. Your mind won't always help you. The diplomacy, you have to be insanely creative person to win to be diplomatic with your enemy. But that's how you say, would you rather be diplomatic with your enemy and smart and manipulate them into what you want, or would you rather lose everything? Because you have to coexist anyway. You have to coexist anyway. It's just like in United States, we have Republicans, we have Democrats, we have independent, we have apolitical people, but we have to coexist. We cannot change. We cannot change another. We cannot have a life goal of making another person like you, but you have to be smart enough to talk about uniting value, common human values, common goals, things that unite us, not things that separate us even more. And that's exactly what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to find something. It's like, you're negotiating with a killer. If you let's say you're the mother and somebody's breaking into your house, and you seem to have some kind of rapport with them, some all of a sudden they don't feel like killing you because you are you you're brilliant, you're a genius that can negotiate and cheat death. You just He just understand that he wrote The Art of the Deal. My son read The Art of the Deal. He was, I think, 13 or 14. He read The Art of the Deal. You just have to understand, if you can avoid the bullets, you should avoid them by all means, rather than try to go into war. I'm gonna say this one last thing. Going to war, it's if when the country starts war, it only means one thing: you lost at diplomacy. Your diplomacy failed. The tax money that you're living on, your huge salaries you get in the government, you blow it. You do not deserve a dollar from the money that you get as a diplomat, as a country representative. Why? Because you failed. The war is always a fail of diplomacy. You cannot verbally agree. You cannot find some new ways, new interests, ways to make things work. You start to be physical. It means you failed. You failed diplomacy. You are not deserving the taxpayers' money you live on. You are absolute failure, because it's like let's say two people. Two people talk, they can be aggressive, they can be rude, is one thing. But what happens when two people are starting to fight? They could be police, they could be injuries, they could be death. You could spend your life in prison if you kill somebody in the fight. There is no return when you start attacking. But this thing you are beating another man for, you could have solved with your own personal diplomacy, with your words, with willing to make things work. It's the last resort. Going physical is always the last resort. In a personal relationship, but it's also in the war. Going physical is not gonna make anything better. All right, my dear friends, now I really have to go. Thank you so much. Or somebody signed for my coffee site. Thank you so much. I can't read your name, I'm sorry, but thank you so much. Yes, you can support me on my coffee website. You can be a member, and you can write personal message. You can see some videos that I'm gonna post there, um, only like behind the scenes things. And most importantly, you can ask a quick question and I will reply. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Let's see if there's any great comments. Right, Veronica, you're dealing with countries with nuclear power. Exactly. To protect citizens from both countries, you have to put in place some sort of rapport with each other. Otherwise, the whole world will be blown up. I would rather put tariffs on Mexico, Canada, Russia, and China. They will come back to deal. They will come back. Oh, yeah, they will come back. They will straighten up. They will give US better deals, right? Yes, thank you, Jason. Yes, I have my glamorous shop on Etsy. Yes, I do, but it's for ladies mostly. But I'm gonna put some collectibles there as well. Also, I have a couple of Soviet books that I'm gonna post there for those who collect Soviet stuff. Um, yes, Art of the Deal is a masterpiece. Yes, and also 48 Laws of Power that Zelensky did not read. It should be his Bible. Goodbye, my dear friends. Thank you so much for joining. There are going to be more videos. Comment, subscribe, share. Let's get this show on the road. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you, guys. Share your thoughts. Thank you for the kind words. Yes. Thank you. You can see my information under the video shortly. Thank you.